Well, hello once again. This video will probably be nothing more than actually a mishmash of little things in the chassis that I'll be doing, from one to the other, skipping around. And before I change out these four resistors, now I've got these resistors already laid out over here. These are the four resistors right here we're going to be using for those four. And I've got a couple of 0.05 microfarad capacitors. And the reason I got these capacitors out is I've decided before changing these four resistors that I talked to you about in the last video, I think I'll go ahead and do an easy pickings. Yeah, I need an easy pickings to build my confidence. So I need to do easy pickings. The easy pickings is going to be this capacitor right here, a 0.05 microfarad. One end is tied to ground. The other end is tied to pin 5 of the 2A6 right there. That 0.05. Let's find out what that is. Now here's the 2A6 and there's pin 5. Now if we come across, come down, that's the line right there. We go all the way down, it goes up to the volume control. That's not the one we want. It said it was connected to pin 5. Well, let's go down here. Let's go this way. There it is. 0.05. It's C9A. Okay? One side connected to ground, the other side connected up here to pin 5 of the 2A6. Man, was that easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change it out. Easy pickings. The next thing I'm going to do is all of these black wires that are crumbling and driving me crazy, that are all hooked to the grounding lugs here and there. I'm going to just get rid of them all. I'm going to clip the ones, like this one here is attached to the, it's attached to something here. What is it attached to? It's attached to, it's attached to something on the band switch. So I'm just going to, just for the heck of it, I know it's a ground wire, it's black. I'm going to go ahead and clip that. I'm going to remove all this. I'm going to clear out the area here. It's getting in my way. It's driving me buggy. Anywhere I find a black wire that's in my way and it's connected to a grounding tab, it's going to go. Get rid of it. Well, I've changed out a few wires and I've changed out a couple of components. I haven't got to these components on that board yet, those four resistors. But we're making some progress. So I got a little bored, so I said, I'm tired of changing wires. I think I'll work on something else for a few minutes. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't get locked into one thing. Change around a little bit. So I'm taking my old alcohol brush here, and my alcohol, and I'm cleaning up the old local oscillator coil. Pretty soon I'm going to go ahead, as soon as it dries out real good, it's cleaning up real good. I'll go ahead and put some of that nail polish on there, and that'll look nice and shiny and nice and good. I've got it pretty much all done already. I'm just going over it for like the third or fourth time here. I want to make sure it was really grungy. So we're going to go ahead and make sure it's really clean. The inside of the local oscillator coil was, kind of mangy and everything. Also, it needed a good coat of clear coat. So I took my little old Q-tip, dumped it in the bottle, and just kind of went around and around all the way down to the bottom, making sure everything was covered. Real gentle like in there, because there are some wires down in there. Be very careful when you do that sort of thing. They get the wires from the top to the bottom by running them through the inside of the coil. They don't run them down the outside. So be careful. Alright, I think that's looking pretty darn good so far. Tell you what, since we're over here messing with the local oscillator coil, I think I'll go ahead and change out this yellow wire that runs from this socket here over to the local oscillator coil contact right there. And when we get done with that, we'll take a look at what's inside this barrel of this. See that thing right there? It looks like a large wax capacitor, but it's not. That is not a wax capacitor. I'll show you what's inside of it here as soon as we get done with this. A little bit of warning when you're soldering wires to a tab on any coil, in particular your local oscillator coil, but any coil. Those wires were just laid on there, and inside your IF can, same way. Those wires were not wrapped around and around those tabs. They were laid on the tab like that and soldered in place. Be careful. Don't put a lot of heat on there. Get in, get your soldering done, and get out. Alright, the yellow wire is on where it's supposed to be. Now let's go ahead and open up C7 here, kind of give you an idea of what it's all about. That's going to take two hands. I'm going to cut along that cardboard tube. We're going to open that baby up. Alright, let's go ahead and peel this cardboard off. And there you have it. A little copper wrapped around some plates on the inside and with some glue there. And there's your 25 microfarad, your 25 picofarad capacitor. We'll be replacing that with a modern one. Here's another resistor way in the back buried down in here. It's R1A and it's supposed to be 65,000 ohms. It's got a black stripe around it. Now I got my multimeter hooked up to one side and I've got it set to the 200,000 ohm scale right there. It's supposed to read 65,000 ohms. Let's go ahead and touch it and see what we actually get. Almost 103,000 ohms. Isn't that amazing? We're making some good progress. I have most of the local oscillator coil wired in, and a good portion of the band switch has been wired in. We're starting to see some nice cool colored wires pop up, and I have this socket wired in, and I still have to do these 4 resistors. Every time I see something I say, man, I need to do that, or I need to do this, and I just keep shooting around these 4, but I've got to get these 4 done soon. Probably be in the next video. Meanwhile, I went out in my shed and looked around, and I do have a speaker plug socket that'll fit this radio. This one came from an Atwater Kent 856 chassis I had out there. It's totally stripped down. There's almost the whole bottom is empty. All the knobs and everything, or the pots, are all missing except for I think one. There's no coil. There's no anything underneath it. The sockets are there, but that's it. So I said, I wonder if that'll work. Sure enough, it's an exact replacement. So I'm going to go ahead and take these brass screws here and nuts, and I'm going to go ahead and put that baby in where it belongs. Now I did say we're going to go ahead and convert this thing over from a field coil speaker to a permanent magnet speaker. We're still going to do that, of course, but I want to have the plug in there and have the wires all situated and everything, in case sometime down the pike on eBay an original speaker pops up for this. If it does, I'm going to pull out the permanent magnet speaker and put in the original. So that's what's on the agenda for the future for this thing anyway. But anyway, right now let's go ahead and get this speaker in. The speaker plug in. The way it works is it flips over, and then you've got a back that goes on like so. Now these holes you'll see are offset from one another. See, one on the right is lower than one on the left. That's to keep you from putting it in wrong. Well, there it is, all installed. Looks real good. A couple of more brass screws. This thing's going to have more brass than chrome before it's over. Anyway, she went in real nice, and I just went ahead and soldered up a couple of wires to the output tube and whatnot. And this one here, I think later on we'll be hooking that to an electrolytic. But that's about it. I decided while I was at it, after I got done hooking these up, I hooked a few more wires up to the band switch. So, like I said, we're making plenty of progress. I just wanted to make this a progress report. I'll try to do another one next week. So until then, this is John.